This article is about the surname Cameron and is not to be confused with the Spanish name Camarón of the African nation Cameroon. For the given name, see Cameron. For other uses, see Cameron. Cameron is a Scottish surname and thus somewhat common throughout the English-speaking world. There are several possible origins. One is from a Gaelic language nickname, derived from Cameron. Another is from any of the various places called Cameron, especially such places located in Fife, Scotland. Another possible origin of the Scottish place name is from Camarón in Normandy. The English language surname can be rendered into Scottish Gaelic as Cameron, Chamaron, or as Camshron and Chamshron. List of people with the surname Alan Cameron, British classicist, emeritus professor at Columbia University. Alan Cameron, New Zealand legal scholar. Alexander Cameron, Alan Cameron, Angus Cameron, Artie Cameron, Guyanese model. Archie Cameron, Australian politician. Bill Cameron, Gam Cameron, American football head coach. Candace Cameron, U.S. actress. Caressa Cameron, American beauty. Carl Cameron, U.S. television journalist. Colin Cameron, Scottish footballer. Colin Cameron, 1896 to 1968, Canadian Member of Parliament. David Cameron, former British Prime Minister. Sir David Young Cameron, Scottish painter and etcher. Daz Cameron, American baseball player. Donald Cameron, Australian water polo player and coach. Donald Cameron, British naval officer. Victoria Cross recipient. Donald Ewan Cameron, U.S. psychiatrist. Donald W. Cameron, Canadian politician. Doug Cameron, Australian politician and trade unionist. Douglas Colin Cameron, Canadian politician. Duncan Cameron, British General Duncan Cameron, Canadian fur trader. Elsie Cameron, British murder victim. Elspeth Cameron, Canadian writer. Owen Cameron, Western Australian radio personality. Ewan Cameron, Scottish physician. Ewan Cameron of Lochiel, Scottish Highland chieftain. Jeff Cameron, U.S. footballer. Jake W. Cameron, American politician. Horace Breckenridge Cameron, South African cricketer. James Cameron, British journalist. James Cameron, Canadian movie producer. Director James R. Cameron, historian and educator. James W. Cameron, professor of genetics and citrus breeder at University of California, Riverside. John Cameron, Scottish theologian. John Cameron Mitchell, U.S. writer, actor, and director. John Allen Cameron, Canadian folk singer. Julia Cameron, writer. Julia Margaret Cameron, British photographer. Kenneth D. Cameron, U.S. astronaut. Kirk Cameron, U.S. actor. Kyle Cameron, footballer. Malcolm Cameron, Canadian businessman and political figure. Malcolm Cameron, Australian politician. Malcolm Cameron, coach of the Texas Wildcatters ECHL hockey team. Malcolm Colin Cameron, businessman and member of the Canadian House of Commons. Margaret Cameron, Canadian jurist. Margaret Cameron, Australian librarian, administrator and ornithologist. Marjorie Cameron, American actress, artist and occultist. Matt Cameron, U.S. hard rock musician. Matthew Crooks Cameron, Canadian politician. Maximilian Cameron aka Maxim Krivonis, one of the leaders of Khmelnytsky uprising. Mike Cameron, U.S. Major League Baseball player. Paul Cameron, U.S. psychologist. Pero Cameron, New Zealand professional basketball player. Phil Cameron, British entrepreneur, owner of No. 1 Traveller and former West End producer. Ralph H. Cameron, U.S. Senator from Arizona. Richard Cameron. Richard Cameron, Scottish religious leader. Richard Cameron, British playwright. Riley Cameron, writer and multimedia artist. Robert Cameron. Ron Cameron. Silver. Donald Cameron, Canadian writer. Ross Cameron, Australian politician. Samantha Cameron, British businesswoman, wife of politician David. Scotty Cameron, American golf club maker primarily known for manufacturing putters. Sean Cameron. Simon Cameron, U.S. politician. Tassie Cameron, Canadian television writer. Tracker Cameron, fictional character in Degrassi, The Next Generation. Vernie Lovett Cameron, English traveler. W. Bruce Cameron, U.S. humorous writer.